Hi, I'm Mike. I'm an alcoholic. I've been through the process with a Big Book Step Study sponsor and God, and I made most of my amends. I got a couple left to make. I've been dragging my feet on, and I practice the latter steps to the best of my willingness and ability on a daily basis. Thanks, Jackie, for asking me to speak. I wasn't supposed to be speaking on this step, but it fits me perfectly because I haven't been trusting and relying on God. And I've been in a lot of pain. I heard someone say that, how much pain do you want to be in? And if you want to be in a lot of pain, don't trust and rely on God, and I haven't been doing that, and I need to talk on it. And it seems like the last couple months when I've been going to church and the sermon that the priest speaks about, he's speaking about trusting God and letting God in and be willing to do that. And every time he says it, I'm thinking, it's like he's looking at me and saying it to me, and that's where I'm at, This is tough, It says right in here that liquor is just a symptom, I came here in 87, and I was mentally, spiritually, and physically beat by alcohol. There was no question my life was unmanageable. I was powerless over alcohol. I knew that, and I did good for a long time. I didn't go to meetings or anything. I went for a while, but I didn't go to meetings for a long time. And things really were good in my life. And, I ended up coming here to Big Book 2 years ago, and because my life was unmanageable sober. I felt worse sober than I did when I was drinking. I wanted to die, and that's a pretty bad place to be in, and anyways, Jackie brought me here. I was volunteering down at St. John's Food for the Poor, and people down there would ask me, why you come here? And I would say, because I could be you very easily, Everything on the outside of me looks good, but I'm one step away from being where you are today, and I was talking to Jackie there, and, I was telling her how I was feeling and whatnot, and she says, you need to get to a step, to do the steps, and when I came in, if I heard people talking about doing the steps, I would think they were weak, What do you need that for? I'm not drinking. My life is good. I don't need to do the steps, And when I came here, a lot of the old-timers, they were like hardcore, They weren't talking about the steps. They told me, don't drink, ask for help, go to meetings, and don't break into my house, And it was simple, These people, they were willing to take me around to meetings. And anyways, it worked for me for a long time until it didn't work. I heard a lady said to me when I first came in, an older woman said to me, she says, Mike, you got a lot of things bothering you don't know about. And I said to myself, I don't know about it. What the hell do I care? And well, all those things came back to haunt me. Sober, without a drink. I didn't have a drink to take my feelings away, to take my fears away, And so, anyways, this book sat down in my cellar for 37 years. Never looked at it. Never knew the steps were in there. Didn't care to look at it. I wasn't drinking. Life was great. I had a house. I had new cars. I had a great job. I was making all kinds of money. Life was good. What do I need to go to a step meeting for? And I never looked at this book, but I was looking at it this morning, and someone had wrote something in here when I was in detox. I think it was a counselor, but she said that getting sober is just the first step. Being the person God created you to be is the next step. The 12 steps will help you get there. you know, and that's the first time I ever read that, and because I didn't think I needed this stuff, you know, and I don't know. It says in here, we thought we could find an easier, softer way. I can remember when I started doing the writing. When I started doing the writing, I was questioning it, why I was doing it. I'm thinking to myself, do I really need this? You know what I mean? All this work. I've been sober a long time, and my life was pretty good. I mean, what do I need to do this for? You know, and yeah, you know, it says, remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. You know, alcohol is telling me that I don't need to do this work, that alcohol could be my cure, you know. I don't know. I can remember after I did the work, someone asked me immediately to speak at the meeting on Wednesday night, and I said I would do it, and I spoke, and I was nervous as hell for a week, and at that meeting, someone asked me, hey, can you speak on Saturday? And I outright said, no, I can't do it, you know. And when I did the third step, my sponsor asked me, he says, if I take you through this work, will you help someone else? And I said, yes, because I was willing to do anything at that point. I felt that bad about myself, you know. And then here I am, I turn around and tell the person that I can't speak at a meeting. You know, this is my obligation. I don't want to sit up here and talk, but I know that I have to. Like someone said to me, if someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, you need to do it, you know, and because I don't like to sit up here. I have fear, you know. On my way here, I said the third step prayer a bunch of times. Ask God to help me get through this, you know, and anyways, yeah, half measures avail us nothing. This over here where it talks about, you know, we're the actor. You know, I mean, I'm doing that stuff recently, you know. I'm exerting my will on people. I'm a nice guy to start out with, right? And I'm not getting my way. So then I get a little, I'm not so nice, you know. I might get a little boisterous, you know, and then I'm still not getting my way. So then I might get, you know, I'll start getting angry and start yelling. And even when I'm doing this, I know I shouldn't be doing it, you know, and but in here it says progress, not perfection, you know what I mean? I'll get there. And this is a great step for me to talk on because of what I've been going through lately, you know, and if you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take these certain steps. And you know, when I got here, I was willing to do anything. When my sponsor explained the third step to me, he said that, you know, we were going to go to a place that was special to me, and we were going to kneel down and hold hands and say the third step prayer. And he said, do you have a problem with that? And I tell you what, at that point in my life, I would have done it in the middle of 290. You know what I mean? I felt that bad, you know, and I was willing to do anything, you know. What got me back was I had gone to someone I worked with. They were sober like 15 years, and they went out and drank. And when I heard that scared the shit out of me. You know, I was literally scared, and I said, you know what? I probably ought to go to meetings. You know, so I started going to meetings, and the first couple I went to, I heard someone say that they felt like I did, and their life was they basically told my story, and they said that their life got better when they started doing these steps. And I'm like, oh, okay, the steps. Maybe I'll do that then, right? So I went to a step meeting. I think it was over in Greendale. I pulled in the parking lot, and a person I knew was going in the door, and I said, I'm not going in there. And I left, you know. And but anyways, I knew that people who did this work, I heard people who did this work, their lives were like mine, and their life got better, you know. And anyways, This is the first meeting I came to. Don't know what I heard. Heard there was another meeting on Wednesday night, so I went there. And the person who spoke at that meeting basically told my story. This is a person I would have hung around with. And they said they did this work and their life got better. And I was convinced then, you know what I mean? I'm like, this guy, I would hang around with him, you know? And then when it got around to the sharing part, I tried sharing, and the chairperson said, you can't speak. And so I tried to speak again. They said, you can't speak. And deep down, I knew I should be there, but I wanted to leave, you know. And someone was sitting next to me and reached their hand out and saved my life. I wanted to, when I didn't do this work, I wanted to speak. Now I don't want to speak. So, yeah, and this is, at this point, it's not alcohol. It's life that I'm dealing with, you know. Life is tough. Life is tough. And without this work, I tell you, I don't know where I'd be today, you know. Granted, I'm struggling and I'm getting better. Let me say one thing. The things that I was fearful in my life that has been going on recently, it was all just fear, and I wasn't trusting and relying on God. And the way that things happened, they happened the way they were supposed to. And some of the things actually happened, they were better than what they were supposed to. And, you know, here I am. I'm in total fear about this stuff. You know, I'm trying to run the show, you know, and knowing that I should trust and rely on God, but I wasn't. You know, I was praying, I was doing everything. I was trusting and relying on Him maybe a little bit, but it's either I'm in or I'm out. You know what I mean? There's no little bit, you know, and. So anyways, when I was going to do the formal third step, my sponsor asked me where would I like to do it. And there's a World War II monument up in Green Hill Park. And up at that monument, if you've never been up there, there's 300 and something poles up there with placards on them with the soldiers from Worcester who died in World War II. And if you go up and read those, every name on that thing, the kids were anywhere from 18 to 22 years old, you know, and, you know, so when I go up there, I'm thinking to myself, here these kids are, they didn't want to go to war, they had to go over there, right? And here I am, I have a chance at life, and I don't want to live, you know what I mean? So that's, so when I go up there, it's pretty powerful, you know, being up there in that situation, you know, thinking here's a kid that probably didn't want to go to war, and here I am, I don't even want to live, you know, and so anyways, we did the third step, the formal third step up there, and when we were doing it, we read the pertinent ideas, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. And he asked me that question, and I says, yes, I'm an alcoholic, I can't manage my own life. Then he says that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism, and I said no, because I didn't understand the question, right? And then he answered that God could and what as He would. And I says, yes, right? And he looked at me and he says, or I might have said to him, what's the matter? And he says, you didn't answer the question right. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, he ran over it again, and I answered the same way, and he says, we can't go any further. And I tell you what, I was devastated, because I knew that if I did this work, I was going to get better. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell am I going to do now? You know, I'm screwed. And so anyways, we talked about it, and, you know, I started doing the work, you know. Life is life, you know. I'm not going to say that putting down the drink and the drug was easy. I mean, it was so long ago. Dealing with life on a daily basis is tough, and with this work, like the third step prayer, I'm saying that all day long. If I'm going into a house that I'm uncomfortable going into meet someone, doing anything in my life, I'm asking God to please help me. I need all the help I can get, and I don't know. Yeah, first of all, we had to quit playing God. And, I have to quit playing God because I can play God pretty easy, pretty good. I'm an actor. I can do that. And like it says, alcohol was only a symptom. And like I said, when I came in here, I thought that if I put down the drink and the drug, I was golden. And life can be challenging. And I do a lot of volunteer work, and so I get a lot of fulfillment out of working with people who are less than I am, and I haven't had the opportunity to take anybody through the process. Again, when I did the third step, I was asked if I would be willing to take anybody through this when I finished, and I said I would. And then at the meeting, when they have you put up your hand if you want to sponsor anybody, I wouldn't put my hand up. And, I'd hide behind people and, put my hand down low. And my sponsor said to me, he says, hey, when they asked if you sponsor someone at the end of the meeting, he says, why aren't you volunteering for that? And I says, I don't think I can do it. And he says, why not? And I said, because I'm playing God. I'm not dependent on God, There's no reason why I can't take someone through this process, It's important to have a sponsor, too, because I would have done it my way, There was a lot of times doing this work that I was trying to do things my way, and my sponsor straightened me out. I had resentments against him. We had some arguments. We had walked out of Panera Bread one day down here in Shrewsbury, and we walked out into the parking lot, and we discussed it, It wasn't, there's no way you can do this on your own, You're going to do it half-assed, and I don't know. It's been a trying experience the last couple of years, and I don't know where I would be today if I didn't do this work, honestly. I mean, I probably would have, I was at the point when I got here I was hoping like a bus or something would run me over, I didn't want to kill myself, but I didn't want to live, and that's not a good place to be in, when I don't know, I could just, if it wasn't for this work, I think I would have been getting high again, because I was in so much pain, and the only way I could deal with my pain was to use again, and I don't know. Thanks for listening to me.